Here to discuss are Jamil Jaffer, the founder and executive director of National Security Institute, and a former law clerk for Justice Neil Gorsuch, as well. Joining us is Mo Alithi, a former DNC communications director. So we should just know you clerked for Gorsuch.
I did.
So I'm going to ask you to, use your powers of Gorsuch whispering and reading. President Trump had strong criticism for all six in the majority, but specifically for Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Gorsuch, whom he appointed and whom voted against him today. Take a listen.
They're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution.
Do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth.
He also went on to suggest, with no evidence, that he thinks, it's his opinion, that these people, I guess all six who ruled against him, are in the pocket of like foreign businesses or something like that. What do you make of all this?
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? The president is just wrong. Neil Gorsuch, the other justices up there, they're doing law. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them. Saying they're disloyal to the Constitution, suggesting they're in the pockets of foreign adversaries. I mean, the whole thing is outrageous. It's wrong. It's not acceptable. And it's not appropriate for a president of the United States to be talking about the United States Supreme Court in that manner.
Do you remember in 2010 when Obama gave his State of the Union address and criticized the decision of the court in the Citizens United? He said it was dead wrong. And so many Republican senators and everybody on Fox, everybody was so offended that the president had, criticized the Supreme Court decision in front of the Supreme Court justices. Where are all these guys now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm also old enough to remember when it was mainstream conservative ideology to be opposed to these kinds of tariffs, right? I mean, now he's calling them rhinos. But yeah, I mean, President took a major political hit today, a major policy hit today. His entire rationale, his presidency has rested on these tariffs. I've never truly understood why politically, because they are so unpopular and they are hurting so many people, but that's what he was leaning into. For the first time, in a really substantive way, the Supreme Court said, you know what, buddy? Like, there is a Constitution.
Yeah.
Article 1 gives this power to the Congress.
Right.
If you want to do it, but do it the right way through Congress.
Yeah, we had Stephen Moore on earlier, a big ally of the president, and I think he said something along the lines of, there probably aren't the votes for it.
Right.
Some Republicans, Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, praised the ruling. Others have slammed it. Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio called the ruling outrageous and said it, quote, handcuffs our fight against unfair trade that has devastated American workers for decades. Congressman Buddy Carter, I believe of Georgia, posted, quote, the Supreme Court just undercut the president's ability to defend American workers. There is an argument that, the president was trying to undo what a lot of people, probably everybody here at this table would agree, have been some very unfortunate decisions made by U.S. leaders in terms of trade deals that have hurt the American working class.
No, I think that's right, and that's fine. The president has the ability to take those actions if he chooses to. He just has to do it the way that Congress has authorized him to do it. Here he tried to use a broad statute in a very aggressive way, and we've seen the court pull that authority back. For a while, the court gave presidents the authority to run around, have federal agencies do all sorts of things within broad statutory authorities. Conservatives on the Supreme Court have pulled that power back, joined at times by liberals, and that's the right thing because that's what the Constitution provides. It says that Congress makes the laws, not the president. He makes it in consultation with Congress. He vetoes or signs bills. But he's going to make laws on his own, and if Congress grants the authority, if the Constitution grants Congress the authority, it's their job. They have to do their job. Right or wrong, that's what the Supreme Court decided today, and that's the right answer.
Mo, this is interesting. I want you to weigh in. Both the presidents, vice presidents weighed in, the former and the current. The current Vice President J.D. Vance called the Supreme Court ruling, quote, lawlessness from the court, plain and simple. Former Vice President Mike Pence, more traditional Republican, called the ruling, quote, victory for the American people and a win for the separation of powers enshrined in the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, well, I mean, doesn't surprise me that the current vice president would take the tone he took because, that's what his boss requires. But I agree with the former vice president that this is a victory for separation of powers as enshrined in the Constitution. But also to your earlier point about whether or not the president's approach was designed to help the American people, there are plenty of examples of where tariffs have actually helped to level the playing field and been helpful, but they were strategic. They were targeted. The fact that this president took the approach he took, illegally, but took the approach he took with these widespread universal tariffs ended up hurting us. It ended up hurting us by increasing what people's out-of-pocket costs by like $1,700 a year. It ended up hurting us in our alliances and our relationships with our trading partners. It emboldened China, who was just funneling their goods through other countries.
Right.
For all of these reasons, it didn't help the American people. And now we've learned it was also illegal.
Very short, if you can, please interpret Gorsuch's concurring opinion in which he basically said legislating's hard. Was he talking to the country, or do you think he was talking to President Trump?
I think he was talking to the country. I think he was making clear that the Constitution sets out a separation of powers. Congress makes the laws. The president carries them out. And the Constitution gives the power to tax and impose tariffs to Congress. You have to respect that. You have to make the laws if that's how you want to do it. You have to follow the laws if you're the president. This was a clear message from Justice Gorsuch to the country.
Yeah.
We're going to do law in the Supreme Court, not politics. Say what you want, Mr. President. They're going to do the law.
Yeah, it was very Schoolhouse Rock to me. I'm just a bill. Thanks to both of you. Appreciate it. Edward.